What happens when you get a first-time screenplay writer being promoted by an actress who seems to be against the fans and combined with a director who deliberately avoids source material? Some would say Supergirl, I say a perfect storm of inexperience, contempt for the fan base, and a misguided vision that turned a promising comic into a financial and critical misfire. Anna Nogara, the screenwriter for the Supergirl, spent most of her time as an indie playwright, writing plays like Empathitrix and Which Way to the Stage. Nogara strives to write messy, gray moral conflicts with quick wit and also enjoys having bold takes in her stories. However, this comes with fan criticism, calling her work obvious, ludicrous, and even feeling unresolved. Nogara's adaptation of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow hits the surface level, depressed tones of a jaded Kara and Ruth's obsessed revenge quests, but that's where the similarities end. In the comics, Kara is existentially untethered. She genuinely questions whether being good even matters anymore. In a cruel universe, Nogara's version keeps Supergirl more heroic from the start, physically stopping Ruth from completing her vengeance instead of trusting the girl to find her own moral line, as the comic book does. Krem is a standout in the source material, but gets reduced to a plot device in the movie, given superpowers just so Supergirl has someone to punch. In the comics, he's a powerless ordinary man, a chilling metaphor for unchecked abusive power and self-indulgent evil, forcing Kara to confront the darkness she could easily become. Even the much-hyped Lobo feels tacked on. You could remove him entirely without changing the story. Compare that to Comet, the centaur cursed into horse form and serving as Supergirl's telepathic companion. I know, comic books. Who quietly underscores the immense restraint Kara must practice every day to uphold her principles. The result? Nogara's script feels flat and functional. Next to the comic, the movie is lasered focus on getting from point A to point B, prioritizing momentum over introspection. In chasing a more straightforward adventure, it loses the comic's aching emotional core, a meditation on grief, moral choice, and what it truly costs to remain hopeful in a broken galaxy. What should have been a profound character journey becomes just another superhero road trip. Millie Alcock's heroism didn't stop on the screen. In interviews, people have cherry-picked her, dismissing critics, saying things like, "Whose opinion do you really care about?" And if you're pissing the right kind of people off, you're doing okay. Honestly, I couldn't agree more. But with more context, it sounds even worse. And it's from a lot of people whose profiles have no photos, who are burner accounts, she said, or someone's name, and then data for Christians, which is hilarious to me. It sounds bad, but when actually watching Alcock speak, she isn't as bad as other actresses that truly alienate the fan base. I chop most of this up to inexperience and naivety. Alcock means well and is young. Her interviews come off as her just trying to say whatever she needs to in order to get by. She's just bad at it.
Gatekeeping is important. Not every space is for everyone.
Misunderstanding the source material is one thing, but actively alienating the core audience, that's another level. Where I'll defend Alcock, I don't see how the movie was created for a male audience, even though Supergirl has always appealed heavily to men. Guys who enjoy the heroic fantasy, the look, the power, and yeah, guys want Supergirl to look hot, leaning more towards Power Girl. Who cares if they want to goon? Because that's who's gonna show up to a $170 million superhero movie. When the people making the film treat those fans like the enemy instead of the foundation, you don't get progress, you get a flop. Now, we are getting into spoilers, so you've been warned. It amazes me how hyped James Gunn was for this script, calling it above and beyond anything I hoped it would be, and describing the film as a beautiful star-spanning tale. Even director Craig Gillespie skipped reading the comic so he could focus purely on Nogara's screenplay. And what did all that get us? Supergirl, the hero defined by truth, justice, and the American way, ends up dictating life and punishment by killing Krem for Ruth. The justification? A fever dream vision of her family telling her to be good. Is that how you be good? Killing so others don't have to? Or telling Ruth not to do it herself because it'll fuck her up? Sure, Krem abducted and raped women. Sure, he poisoned the dog. Those are all convenient excuses so the general audience doesn't feel bad about the hero committing murder. But they fail to build any real theme, develop the characters, or tell a meaningful story. What is the actual message of this movie? With great power comes the ability to do what I want, drinking, partying, killing, saving only when it's convenient to me. In the comic, Ruth has Krem at her mercy. Filled with hate and sorrow, she raises her father's sword to murder him in cold blood, yet she stops again and again. It's as if Providence itself stays her hand. The journey and the lessons Supergirl instilled in her taught Ruth the profound difference between vengeance and justice. I don't need the movie to be a one-to-one adaptation, but I do expect it to be competent in its writing, to capture a clear message, and to respect the emotional and moral intelligence of its audience. Woman of Tomorrow is the kind of story that should inspire everyone to be better for the greater good of all. Kara is a hero who willingly surrenders her godly powers in service of American ideals, helping others grow and giving people like Ruth that quiet sense of providence and moral clarity. Instead, this Supergirl feels like the woman of today, a self-indulgent story that stumbles its way across the finish line. I felt like I was watching a high schooler do the bare minimum for a group project. For that reason, I have to give Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow a 4 out of 10. A bad faith team making a bad movie. For more commentary on today's industry, subscribe to Digital Hero 101. And until next time, stay honest, call out the weak, and demand better.